Kia ora everyone, welcome to episode 8 of Muse, and I'm so privileged and grateful today to have a former student of mine, Sophie Hamer. She is currently living in Dunedin doing her honours in music, if I'm not mistaken. She'll clarify this if I've said that wrong. But hello Sophie, how are you today?
Hi, yeah, I'm great, thanks. Yeah, that's I am doing my honours this year, so it's my fourth year in Dunedin.
Frick. And is it,
And
and
yeah,
that's
loving it down here.
study, and it's music, eh? Or is it at honours, do you start like doing a particular, particular focus? What's the deal with that?
Well, I'm focusing on cello performance, but I'm also doing a dissertation about the mental aspects of performance.
Okay,
Um,
that's interesting. What's the dissertation for this musician, not English teacher? What does that mean?
um, so it's I have to write 12 to 15,000 words
Whew.
about on my topic. Yeah,
It's
so
almost like a thesis.
yeah, I think it basically is. So I've got the whole year to do it,
Yeah,
which is good.
and it's about the effects of performance. Is that right?
Well, the mental aspects, so dealing with performance anxiety, um, and concentration, motivation, that sort of thing. Because I feel like musicians don't talk about that enough.
This is
Because
true.
yeah, I struggled with nerves for quite a while, um, and like even now, I still get nervous. I think lots of us do, but I feel now I've learned how to deal with it more.
Yeah. Oh man, this is actually good because that means I was going to ask you lots of questions about which we still will, but I'm really interested for you to talk to us about that because I think this episode then will be very, very insightful to so many that suffer that. And I can say firsthand that I still get on stage with my band and we all still get nervous.
Yeah.
It just comes with the territory of being a performer. The moment I'm not
Mm.
nervous is the moment I feel like I'm taught myself, and I think that's really important because nervousness, and you'll talk to this a bit as well, kind of like makes you a better performer if you learn how to channel it right. Is that right?
Yes, but that's the difficulty in learning how to not get your arm shaking so that your bow's jumping on the string or something.
Yeah,
You got
yeah.
to learn how to control it.
Sweet. Oh man, this is gonna be fascinating. All right, we got some time. So if you just talk to us like we normally do this anyway, Sophie, but talk to us about like your experience at school. And obviously, I can preface by saying that I got to teach you in your last year of high school. But talk to us about how you got involved into music and some of the things that you learned through school. And then we'll go from there, right?
Yeah, well, I really enjoyed being in your music class at school.
Thank you.
Um, there were just so many opportunities that you created for us that I really enjoyed doing, and I never thought I would do. I would never have imagined being in Rock Quest
Yeah.
as a cellist, but that was so much fun. And we recorded an album and Stand Up, Stand Out. And I feel like doing all of these things that maybe where I was outside of my comfort zone, I probably learnt, well, I definitely would learnt more than I would have done if I'd just done things that made me comfortable.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good to hear, and that's actually one of the reasons why I push so many of my students to get up there and like just face their fears. And actually, you
Mm.
reminded me about the Rock Quest because that group that we got together, yourself, Janetta, and Sigourney, and she had that beautiful song, and
Yeah.
we worked together on arranging it for Rock Quest. And there was this one group. It's the Rock Quest, and it's not even rock music. It's a guitar, piano, and cellist and we kept. I mean, I'm not going to say we. You guys captivated the audience. I say we as in Waiuku College, but to be honest, I remember being at the heats and the regional finals and being just part of the crowd and like getting goosebumps from how incredibly connected you guys all were. How talk to us about that experience.
Yeah, it was great. Because I'd never really played that sort of music before either. Um, and I also felt like it worked both ways in the fact I was introducing the cello to a different audience as well,
Sure.
um, who might not have listened to it otherwise. And performing in front of lots of people because there were quite a few people there, I think.
Yeah, man.
That was a good experience too.
especially when we went to, we got a couple of bands through to the regional finals, and that's a pretty big deal. And we didn't make it
Yeah.
through, but that never stopped you guys from performing and playing. And no, look, I'm really grateful that you mentioned those things. I mean, it's good that you've gone on to enjoy, but that's what I push for every day with my classes, is to try to give students those opportunities. And it's people like yourself, Sophie, that really take hold of it and aren't afraid to do those things, because at the end of it, it's really nothing to do with me. It's more to do with you, using those opportunities wisely. And so now you've moved to Dunedin, and you've been there for how many years? This is your fourth year, you said?
So this is my fourth year. Yeah.
Wow. You had to give away, your connection with your family, to spend time with them all the time, to go and just by yourself, right? You moved all down there by yourself?
Yeah. Although there are a few of us from Waiuku
Oh, okay.
coming down here, but
Oh,
yeah, it's quite a big change. But um, the people down here are great, and I've made lots of good friends, and yeah, so I've not found it difficult at all.
oh, that's good, man. That's good. And Sophie, talk to us about, what your degree is. So talk to us about what you've been doing, what you've learned, some things that you think would be like valuable for all students, not just those learning cello, but music students in general. What are some things that you've learned over these 3 or 4 years that you could share? Because ultimately, this is what this podcast is about hearing from others about advice that we could use.
So I'd say, if you're passionate about music, then just go for it, because there's no point getting a job of something that you're not enjoying, because you're stuck with that for the rest of your life. But I mean, it doesn't have to be music. If it's something else you're passionate about, just follow your dreams, even if maybe some people discourage you. But I think it's also good to have a backup option as well, because I did a Bachelor of Arts majoring in music but minoring in statistics.
Yeah, see,
So
Mrs. Everett, our maths teacher at Waiuku, would be very happy to hear this. I'll make sure that Mrs. Everett hears this, eh?
just in case, like, I changed my mind or I didn't want to do music anymore, I still have the statistics side to fall back on
Have you had to fall back
if
on
I
it?
need to. Well, not yet, but
Okay,
I
good.
mean, I'm still studying, so I haven't quite finished yet.
Yeah, that's good. And so you could play cello quite comfortably. And so when you were studying at Dunedin for your bachelor's, what was the actual major? That's what we call it, right? So when you do a bachelor of something, you major in. What were you majoring in in Dunedin?
So my major was music, focusing on cello performance.
Okay, it's the same
Um,
as the honors degree essentially.
yeah, except this year I've got even more recitals and and lessons and things like that, which is great.
Okay, talk to us about the cello. Like, some people might not even know what a cello is. And like, who are some of your inspirational or influential cellists that we could go and have a listen to find out, what this instrument actually does? And I guess later on we'll come back to it, but we'll talk about how the cello affects you emotionally, and then that can lead us into, what you've been writing about in your dissertation, if I said that right.
Yeah. So I'd say the biggest inspiration for me would be Heleen du Plessis,
Okay.
who's probably one of the most iconic cellists. She's just got so much passion and energy in her playing, and yeah, you just really feel the emotions that she's trying to portray. I definitely recommend going to listen to her, especially her recording of the Elgar Cello Concerto, um, which is just one that it's a concerto that every cellist dreams of playing, but we've got no chance of getting even close to her interpretation. It's just so good.
Yeah. And do you remember? I think I showed you the two cello guys. Do you know them? What do you think
Oh
of
yeah,
them?
yeah. I like the fact that they're taking the cello to a different kind of audience. Um, I've been to one of their concerts and it was great, really. But it's just um, it's just so like it's not really what the cello is about.
What's the cello about?
Mm,
Because I
that's a
mean,
tough one.
I have my ideas about it. Because at university, when I studied composition and songwriting, we needed to learn the different timbres, which is the different sounds of the instruments, and certainly if different instruments they play different parts in what I would consider to be the emotional palette that composers and songwriters can use to trigger people's emotions. Where does the cello fit in that emotional palette? What sort of emotion does the cello bring out?
Um, well, quite often in films and things, it's used like whenever there's a sad
Yeah.
moment, there's quite often a solo cello.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's not always like that. You can also, I think it's quite a hopeful instrument, um, and a singing instrument.
Yeah.
Um,
You're pretty lucky because cello kind of has that thing that strings doesn't, and that is like I love violin, but violin is just so high in the register it can get really
mm,
annoying and frustrating. But that's
yeah.
nothing against violins, but the cello is this weird, unique instrument that it's able to do almost like everything. Has the low
Mm.
register. What have you learnt this over the last 3 years and even through now with your honors? With performance, what have you learnt that you could share? About the cello to those that are listening to us talk.
Um, well, I've got an amazing teacher at the moment, Heleen du Plessis, and um, she she's very big about like posture and how we sit and the muscles we use when we play the cello. Um, because using different muscles, we can create a better, like a more projected sound and a more, if we're more relaxed and don't have any tension, the sound also isn't tense.
Mm.
Um, so she's really helped me create a more like a better sound, um,
Do you
which
think
yeah, it's
that?
been great.
Do you think when you're playing solo, and we'll talk about you playing in the symphonic orchestra in a moment, but do you get those moments where you're playing like a piece written from say like the 18th and even 17th century, and it's just a solo piece, and then you just feel like you're like the cello is an extension of you, and all of the emotion and all the feeling is just I don't know. Do you know what you know what I'm talking about, right? Where it kind of feels like you're one, and then everything shuts off around you, and you're just completely absolved to that moment where everyone is like focused on you and the music, and it's you know what I'm talking about, right? You've had those
Yeah, sometimes
experiences.
you forget that the audience is there
Yeah.
because you're so into what you're playing.
And do you get
Yeah,
many?
definitely.
Do you play many shows by yourself, or are you mainly now playing? You would. I would imagine you would have had done so with the with your degree, right? Play a couple of solo
Yeah,
shows.
so we have recitals every year for our degree, and we also get to play in the university lunchtime concerts and things like that. Um, but most of my concerts outside of the university are in orchestras and group chamber music groups and things like that.
Wow. So
Um,
great opportunities to play. Um, I mean that's. I mean I'd love to be able to play in an orchestra, and I guess this is a good point to switch topics a little bit, and for you to talk to us about what it's like. What it's like to play and with a large group of people, because if you can't make mistakes. I mean, there's people, people watching you. You're one
yeah.
humongous unit, and you are, as you mentioned before we started recording, you're what do you call it, primary cellist,
Oh, principal cellist
principal
in the
cellist.
Dunedin Youth Orchestra. Yeah.
Woo! I mean, that's huge. So, to talk to us a little bit about what you're studying about, because and how you can relate it back to your own experiences with playing the cello, so that our students and whoever's listening can learn from that.
Learn from.
Just what you've been writing about, what you found through your study, and
Oh, well, I haven't actually done it yet, so I'm going to do it this year.
okay. So
So,
now you could talk to us about your own experiences. Then talk to us about yeah. just how you overcome the fear of performing, because you mentioned that at the beginning. It's one of those things that you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
What's your
Yeah.
experience
So,
with that?
well, I wouldn't say I've overcome it yet, but I can deal with it better.
Okay.
So I think one of the key things that I do when I'm performing, you just think about the tiny things that you're doing, like the simple thing of just bowing from left to right, and just concentrate on that a lot, so that you just can't think about being nervous as well,
Mm-hmm.
because your whole concentration is taken up by just doing that simple action.
Yeah, yeah.
And I found that to be really effective.
Okay.
And just think about the small details in the music, and then you just forget about your nerves.
But
And
but
I
then
think it's just really at the start, and then once you're into it, you're fine.
so let's go back one step. How do you even get up on stage? You know, there's so many kids out there that are listening are thinking, man, I can't even get up on stage to perform. I'm so nervous. What do you do to get up on stage?
Um, I haven't really struggled with the walking on part, but I guess you just need to make sure that, like, I'd start off by performing to a few people that you're comfortable with in a comfortable environment, and then just, build it up from there, taking yourself outside of your comfort zone just a small bit each time until you're confident enough to perform in front of a group of strangers and a larger audience.
That's good advice. And so, like, say you are performing and you make a mistake, what happens? What do you do?
You've just got to keep going. It's not about perfection in music. I think that's what makes it so good, that it's not perfect all of the time, because otherwise computers would just do it all of the time.
Good
They
point.
just play the music. So it doesn't have to be perfect. You just have to give across the emotion and your intentions. And if you mess up a few notes here and there, it doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Sure. That's fantastic advice too. So a couple of last questions before we go. Having played then with in the symphonic orchestra, that's how many people in that? 100?
Yeah, about that, I think. Although
Okay.
it depends on the concert. Like for one, we played with several choirs as well. I think we were over 200 people for that one.
Wow.
So it's
Whew.
just incredible.
And so when you're playing a piece of music from these fantastic composers, I mean, like, one of the things that I'm really passionate about, you knew this from my class, is like listening to music, all sorts of styles
Yeah.
and genres, like
Mm.
actually like paying attention. When you're performing, you have to. It's part of the package. You can't, be thinking about what you're going to watch on TV when you get home. You actually have to be completely engaged. How does it feel being on stage with a whole bunch of passionate musicians playing pieces of music that were written hundreds of years ago? How does that feel? What's that experience like?
Yeah, it's just the most incredible feeling. Um, it's just something. It's not about you. It's about everyone, um, and sharing the music with the audience. Um, it's it's so loud as well.
Yeah,
It
man.
just it's just unbelievable. I'd definitely recommend going to a symphony orchestra concert if you haven't been to one.
Yeah, we
Um,
try to I try to take them. I'll ask this question: have you played the Star Wars theme yet?
yes, we
Oh,
played that last year.
so good. Oh man, John Williams, what
Uh,
a legend,
yeah,
and
epic brass in that one.
so much. Oh, just unbelievable. I just got goosebumps there, and I actually got to hear that live when I went to the Auckland Town Hall. What about Indiana Jones? Played any Indiana Jones?
No, we haven't.
Okay. Good luck for playing Mahler when you start learning his
Yeah,
pieces. My goodness,
yeah. Oh, they're so
harmonics.
epic.
Whew,
Yeah.
crazy. Okay, so last couple of questions. Think about one piece of music you love dearly, and just give me 3 words as to to describe it. 3 words. Give us the name of the artist or the piece of music or whatever it is, and then 3 words to describe it. Then you can elaborate a little bit more if you like on that.
Um. Well, I was going to say the Elgar, but I've mentioned that one already. So I might quickly think of another one. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. I'll go with.
Nice. Three words. Why?
Oh, that's really tough. Epic. um, Unity and volume. It's just so loud.
Well, it had to be because the guy was eventually deaf.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing that he was writing?
Oh, it's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, have you seen that movie, Immortal Beloved? Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Go watch that. That's about Beethoven and his traumatic childhood and life. Oh man! And then last question is 3 words of advice for future musicians and people that are watching that you think that would resonate with them and help them and inspire them to kind of go down that path of saying, I do want to do music. I am going to do music. It's what I'm passionate about. Could be anything. Any 3 words.
Oh, just 3 words.
Yeah, man.
Practice.
Yes.
Plan and fun.
Nice, man. Those are three. So practice, plan, fun. If you do those in order, you will eventually have a lot of fun. That's awesome, Sophie. It's been so awesome to talk to you because it's been so long, and I haven't actually caught up with you for what we said 4 years before. It's almost been 4
Something
years
like that,
now.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a pleasure. So there you go, guys. That's episode for today. And if you like what you've heard, then make sure you like and subscribe and keep in tune for the next episode. Until the next time, we'll see you later. Thanks, Sophie.
It's been good to see you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.